Hi there, Mary McCarthy here.
Hey, and it's Kelly Dix.
Today we're going to talk about mortgage pre-approval.
Yeah, not very exciting, but it's very necessary, isn't it?
It is. You have to have it, especially
Yes,
in this market.
exactly in this market. I mean, normally you need it anyways, but in this market, you really need a pre-approval because things are selling so quickly. You don't have time to get one, if you find the house you like.
Right,
So,
right. And so the pre-approval gives you the ability to make an offer. Um, it tells you how much you can borrow, any potential problems you might have, and most agents won't show you a house without it. So it's very important that you have it. You have to, if you find a house that you like, you have to be ready because the house will be gone 3 days later.
right.
You'll lose it. So
And I
those
think a
are,
lot of, yeah, I think a lot of times the buyers go on the internet, they do some searching, and they're like, "Ooh, I can afford this much," or "That looks like that's affordable." But you don't think about all the things that go into your payment, the insurance, the taxes, then you can't afford the payment,
the homeowners association.
Right. So I think it's just a good idea to financially know where you are, talk to a lender or your bank that you're comfortable with, and just see where you stand.
There's another thing too that people forget about, and that's your closing costs. People think, well, I have 10,000 saved up. That's my down payment. You got another 3 to 5% of closing costs, depending on your location and
Right.
and the amount of your taxes.
Yeah.
So you could have, if it's $100,000 house, you could have an additional $3,000 to $5,000 in closing costs, in addition to your down payment. So it just is a good idea to get pre-approved.
Right. So part of your closing costs quickly are just you have to pay the mortgage company. You might have to pay real estate fees. You got to prepay your escrow. In Michigan, we prepay escrow, so you got to put your taxes and homeowners insurance into an escrow account.
Right.
So I mean, you have some prepayment costs, and so does the seller, on their end too. But everybody's got some extra things like you're saying, just not the down payment. So
Right. Right.
our advice is to talk to your pre-approval person, get your pre-approval letter, and know where you stand financially.
Right. And the other thing that I always forget about it too, is if you're going FHA or VA, you're going to have mortgage insurance or the VA funding fee.
Right,
And
and you don't realize that.
those are, $2,500 or more, depending on your sale price.
Yeah, because you're not putting that much down, right? So they
Right.
have to charge that mortgage insurance.
Correct. Correct.
Right. So, and another thing too that you quickly find out when you get your pre-approval, there might be some skeletons in your closet, right?
Exactly. Something you didn't even think about.
Right. Some
Student
people find
loan.
it tax lien or unpaid medical expenses, or you don't realize how big of effect your student loan makes on a pre-approval. So like you
Exactly.
said, they always look at your debt to income too. So
Right.
just because you can go ahead and get pre-approved financially with your income, they need to look at a lot of other factors, your credit score, your debt to income, and anything like you might not know about that's in your credit history, you
Right.
know.
Right. And here are the things. There's certain things that you're going to have to give to that lender or broker, mortgage broker, in order to get the pre-approval. And those things are your bank accounts, any assets that you have, your income and employment, tax returns, any debts that you have. Those all have to be like gone over by the lender. And if you didn't do that, then it's not a pre-approval.
Yeah, and a lot of times I've seen people not file their income taxes, and that's an issue because they usually want 2 years of income taxes.
Yes.
So if you don't have those done, you have to get them filed. You have to get whatever they call the statement that, they were filed and everything. So that could really hold you up.
Yes.
So, and they usually need a couple months of bank statements. So you just have to get all that financial stuff in order. Now they're not just going to give you pre-approval. And if they do, you should be worried if they're not checking those things, right?
Well, yeah, it's really not a pre-approval if you didn't do that.
Right.
I had a buyer just recently give me a screenshot of Credit Karma and say that that was his pre-approval. And I was like, no.
Yeah. They don't know.
Yeah,
No, and they need to really research your history. And we've talked about too, if there's a divorce or a bankruptcy or foreclosure, those things you need to tell your lender about so they can see if there's any snags with that in order to get a pre-approval.
right.
Because the worst thing is to get involved in a transaction and find out
You
there's something
can't
you have to
buy.
fix.
Yeah.
Yes. And everybody gets mad.
Yes, yes, yes. The seller especially. So
So,
then another piece of like what I tell people, go local. Pick somebody who's got an office near you or near where you're going to be buying. So
right.
if there's an issue, you have somebody you can go sit in front of and have a conversation with. If you go online and you get somebody in Utah or Wyoming, you know, and there's a problem there, you got nobody you can talk to. So
Right. I had an out-of-state lender on a buyer before too, and there was a time difference. So if you do have a problem, there's a time difference. There might not be open yet, or they might not know all the Michigan laws here, about buying. What kind of things, like property taxes or anything about what's going on in Michigan, you know.
yeah,
So it's just better. I agree with you too. Or you could just use your own bank. This way they have access to all your financial bank statements and everything. And it just makes it easier for them to access that stuff. So,
I just want to say one thing about using your local bank. A lot of times the people that are in that office are not who's going to process that loan. So if you go to a really huge
right.
bank like Chase or Comerica, that person is not going to be there. They're going to be in New York or Texas.
True.
And again, you are going to have somebody you can go yell at if there's a problem, but they're not going to be able to handle it. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
go to somebody who's actually involved in your application, your process.
Yeah. And I'm thinking too, you could shop around, and that's a whole nother topic, but you don't want to shop around during the transaction. You want to do it in the beginning and be comfortable with your lender when you write the offer. You can't be changing lenders during the transaction either. So I think it's important to do your shopping ahead of time. Be prepared, right? A prepared
Yes.
buyer is a good offer.
More
So,
than one opinion.
yeah.
I would at least two.
Yeah. So,
and then if you have, the other thing is there's all kinds of programs, and we're not going to get into that right now, but there's all kinds of programs for people who don't have their down payment. But if you can, you should save that money. Save that money. Don't borrow it. Don't gift it. Just save it. Wait 3 months and save the money.
yeah. And so talking about different programs too, when you go to get your pre-approval, there are different types of loans that you can get. So I know we've talked about having your agent know what kind of mortgage you're getting, because that makes a difference too when you're shopping for a house, right? Like if you have an FHA
Absolutely.
mortgage.
Absolutely.
So we need to know that as an agent, because maybe the condition of the house is going to play a factor. Or like I always say, condo complex, a lot of condo complexes won't take an FHA mortgage. And not a lot of buyers know that.
Right,
So
right.
those are things that we need to know when we're out shopping to avoid problems. You want to make an offer in a house and you can't use that type of mortgage.
Right, right, exactly.
So
in wrapping up, get pre-approved.
yes. And a seller doesn't want to show a house to somebody that's not pre-approved and waste everybody's time. So bottom line too, like you said, just get pre-approved. And Mary and I have a lot of people we can refer you to, if you need to get an opinion on a pre-approval. But it's just the best thing, because when you write an offer, you have to have that pre-approval letter or they're not going to take you serious.
Well, not only take you serious, but you could lose the house. In our market, in certain price ranges, you're going to have multiple offers on any house that comes on the market almost.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a good pre-approval, they're going to rule you out. They're not, that's how they're going to if they've got 5 offers, they're going to want to weed it out. And if you
Right.
don't have a pre-approval, you're the first one to go.
Yeah, because how do they know if you could buy the house? And then this person next to you is prepared. They got a pre-approval letter.
All they're waiting on is an appraisal.
Yes. So that's why it's important. So, okay. Well, I think we'll wrap this up like you said, move on to the next topic. We'll watch everybody again in future videos. And if you have questions, reach out to me and Mary. We'll leave our phone number and contact information. And reach out if you have any questions. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. We'll see you again. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
listening. Bye.